We're here in the studio with Montana Tucker. She's a model, singer, dancer, and activist. And of course, you've seen her all over social media, particularly right now, promoting the fight against anti-Semitism. Montana, great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks so much for coming in.
I'm excited.
So how did you get into this fight against anti-Semitism in the first place?
I feel like I've been fighting this fight for a long time now. 1 year ago, leading up to Kristallnacht last November, I released a Holocaust educational docuseries called How to Never Forget. I grew up with Holocaust survivor grandparents from Hungary and Romania, and I grew up hearing their stories my whole life. So I've always been educated about the Holocaust, not just in school, not just from movies, but from direct stories from my grandparents. And when my Zadie passed away 4 years ago at 97, I rewatched his Shoah Foundation testimonials and my grandma's, and I was like, I need to do something with this. So I actually went to Poland and filmed a whole series. So I've been now for the past year fighting anti-Semitism on my social media, in person, going around speaking. And when everything happened with Israel, then I have now basically taken over my social media, posting about it.
So what has the uptick in anti-Semitism that you've seen been like since October 7th?
I mean, I think the actual statistic is 400%, they say. But what is happening online is, something that anti-Semitism has always been here, right? It's always been around. But now with the power of social media, it's been taken to a whole new level. And what's happening on social media is now going into the college campuses, is going into, high schools even. There was a high school teacher that the other day had to be locked in her room because there were protests. I mean, in high schools. So I'm seeing it directly to myself on social media, but every day we're hearing about news stories now, what is happening in schools and on the streets, at restaurants. People are boycotting restaurants because they support Israel.
In some cases, they're even boycotting restaurants that serve Israeli food. That was happening in Philadelphia. It's totally wild. So you've been doing some amazing activist work. You've been with people on all sides of the political aisle to talk about anti-Semitism. For folks who don't watch your feed and haven't been following, what are the kind of stuff that you've been doing?
Yeah, so I've been, going to, whether it's political, going to the White House and speaking about it there, or going to different schools, or going, I just spoke at the rally in DC, which was 300,000 people, which is an insane number of people to come together to support Israel and to combat anti-Semitism. And, my following on social media was not built from my activism. It was built from my dancing, from my singing. I've collaborated with people of all walks of life, all ethnicities, all races. So to use my social media to be posting about Israel, was risky, some may say, but I felt that if I have the voice and I have the power to maybe educate someone, to share what's going on, I know that's what my grandparents would want me to do. I wish they had a voice back then, and wish the Jewish people had a voice back then to be able to voice what was going on. So I feel like it's our responsibility now with these platforms to make sure we use them and educate.
I mean, it definitely is a brave thing to take a social media following that is on a completely different topic and swivel it over to something that's insanely serious and really threatening in the world right now. I mean, I'm lucky. I do a political show, which means that I can just talk about what's going on politically pretty easily, and my audience can move with me. It's stuff happening in the world. But for you to take a complete image that has been built from doing fun stuff, the singing and the dancing and all, and shift that over to something deeply serious, how have fans reacted to that?
When I first did the Holocaust series a year ago, I was nervous. I was definitely very nervous. I was like, people follow me to see me be happy, to see me dancing in the streets of Hollywood Boulevard, to see me collaborate with Terry Crews. Like, no one's going to want me to sit here and do something very dark, very serious. I mean, me going to Auschwitz. Have you ever been?
I have not been, no.
Something that anyone watching, I mean, no matter what religion you are, what race you are, it is something that I think everyone should go and experience to see what can really happen. And that's very dark. That's very serious. I mean, I never went, so everyone was seeing my natural reaction. I was hysterically crying half the time in the series. You're walking over mass graves in the series, so it was risky. And I was like, you know what? If it impacts one person, if one person sees this and is impacted, like, great. And honestly, the series took off in a way that I never expected. I really didn't expect it, and it really has changed people's views and opinions. I've had people write me saying like, I was taught to hate Jews my whole life. And after, hearing your story and hearing your grandparents' story, like you've changed my mind. Or people who aren't Jewish saying, you've inspired me to want to go learn more about my, family's history. So it's been interesting. Of course, there's a lot of the hate that has come with it. I mean, definitely more hate, but there also has been a lot of really positive, beautiful things that have come from it.
I want to talk to you about Daily Wire's most trusted privacy partner and the premier sponsor of this show, ExpressVPN. Going online without ExpressVPN, it's like changing while you leave your window wide open. Well, even if you don't have anything to hide, why would you do that? And also, it's a terrible idea, so don't do that, people. When you go online without a VPN, ISPs can also see every single website you visit. They can legally sell that information without your consent to ad companies and tech giants who then use your data to target you. When you use ExpressVPN, ISPs can't see your online activity, your identity is anonymized by a secure VPN server, and your data is also encrypted for maximum protection. I love ExpressVPN because it's really easy to use. I can fire up the app, I can click one button to turn it on, doesn't require any technical knowledge or know-how at all. Plus, ExpressVPN works on all devices, phones, laptops, even routers, so everyone who shares your Wi-Fi can be protected. Secure your online activity the same way I do. Visit expressvpn.com/Ben. You can get an extra 3 months of ExpressVPN for free. That's expressvpn.com/Ben. Get 3 extra months of ExpressVPN today. expressvpn.com/Ben. If you're looking for a way to set up your estate to offer financial benefits and more, you need to check out Trust and Will. Traditional estate planning can cost thousands of bucks. Many one-size-fits-all solutions might not capture all the important details of the life you've built. With Trust and Will, you can protect your legacy from the comfort of your home, starting at just $159. They've simplified the process of creating and managing your will or trust online, from finding out what's right for your family to finalizing documents with a notary. My wife and I, we've had to rewrite our will several times, primarily to make sure that everything is taken care of in case, God forbid, something happens to us. You feel like it's a difficult process, but Trust and Will makes it super simple, and it's really important. Secure your assets, protect your loved ones with Trust and Will. Get 10% off plus free shipping of your estate plan documents by visiting trustandwill.com/Shapiro. That's 10% off and free shipping at trustandwill.com/Shapiro. So after doing that series about the Holocaust, and obviously you mentioned growing up in a home with Holocaust survivor grandparents, and where do you think we stand with anti-Semitism in the world right now?
It's crazy that it's 2023, almost 2024, and we are still here. And we are here, actually, not still here. We are in a place that I don't think we've been since the Holocaust, So people need to take this more seriously. I think that this is why I keep saying this is how the Holocaust began, because people aren't taking this seriously enough. And to understand, people think, oh, the Holocaust could never happen again, But that's why Israel is so important. My Zaidi would always tell me how important the state of Israel was, because he felt if Israel was around, that the Holocaust would have never happened. And that's why it's so important that we protect Israel and we stand for Israel during this time more than ever. And people saying anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism, it is. And it's really a scary time that we're in right now. And I can't believe that we have to prove ourselves again. Back in the day, my Zaidi would tell me stories that he would have friends his entire life. And then all of a sudden, when all the announcements came out about how terrible the Jews were and, all the propaganda, friends turned on him, started spitting on him in the street, started beating him up and saying, you dirty Jew. I mean, that's what's happening on social media. And you're having conversations with friends that you can't even imagine having, a year ago, you would have never imagined having these types of conversations with them. So it's a really scary time we're in, and that's why it needs to be taken seriously. And to make sure that the never forget, never again doesn't happen again.
Yeah, the denialism is particularly astonishing. I mean, when you look at the amount on social media of people who are just saying, none of this ever occurred, or Israel's exaggerating what happened, or the 40 beheaded babies, that therefore all the babies are alive, or Israel's lying, or all of this, it is boggling to the mind, because for those who actually think that truth matters and that facts matter, it's pretty evident that for a huge percentage of the population, that just is not true. The narrative matters a lot more than the facts.
It makes no sense that at first they're saying the hostages aren't like when people were in the streets pulling down the posters. There were videos of people saying they're not hostages. Hamas didn't take them. Okay, now we have all the videos of them, the hostages being returned. Where's your denial in that one? Oh, they didn't really murder them. They didn't hit. Then you have all the footage that comes out online every day. People are trying to, I'm involved in all these groups that people are begging people to see this footage. I don't want to see the 45-minute long, because I believe it. But the people who are denying it need to watch that footage. They need to watch that footage, because how can you deny that? How can you deny that?
It really is astonishing. Well, you're doing amazing work. It's Montana Tucker. Thank you so much for stopping by, and thank you for doing what you're doing. It's a brave and necessary thing, so I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.